You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing to full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to the line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
From the East Coast to the West Coast and around the world on the internet, we're coming to you live from the CCRS studios, WNJC 1360. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show with your host, Rick Trader. The Conservative Commandos radio show, where the newsmakers go to be heard. You can call the Conservative Commandos radio show at 856-227-1360. Your opinion counts at 856-227-1360.
This is Congressman Alan West, and you're listening to the Conservative Commando radio show.
Welcome, everybody, and welcome, fellow patriots. Welcome once again to the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader, coming to you live from the studios of the Conservative Commandos radio network at WNJC 1360 in Philadelphia, and around the world on the internet with American Patriots Broadcasting, TalkStream Live, SHR Media, K98 Talk, iHeartRadio, AM, FM 24/7, and a whole bunch of others. And joining me today as my co-host is the president and CEO of American Uncensored News Network. That's AUN-TV.com, Dana Allen. Dana, welcome to Conservative Commandos.
Thank you, Rick. And I know today you're being a trooper. You have a little bit of a cold, and we appreciate your dedication.
Yeah, so if you hear sneezing or coughing in the background, please do not try to adjust your radio station. It is just me acting out a cold. Dana, it's great to have you with me today, especially since I'm not feeling my best, and you'll probably have to handle the yeoman's job here on Conservative Commandos today.
Well, I'm just grasshopper, and you're the master, Rick.
What was that
and if
from?
people
Kung
don't
Fu
understand what that
something?
means, that's a old TV show.
Yeah, you have to be older
when
than
was
dirt
that
like
TV
me
show, Rick?
to-
Was that the
to realize
1980s?
that's the analogy. So, Dana, what's on your radar screen today?
Well, you know, one of the biggest things I think is happening in the country right now is this, this emergence of, people might call it fascism, which is maybe not the best word. You know, it's definitely related, but on our college campuses, it's this intolerance and hate and anti-free speech movement that's going on. And I think it's one of the biggest things going on in the country, and it's probably scaring a lot of people right now, and rightfully so. You know, people tend to get frightened of things that are, never will happen or whatever, but this is a serious issue. We really have a problem.
I agree, Dana, and it's being fed by the liberal left and also the liberal media. They are capitalizing on this fear that people have. They are magnifying this fear that people have, but it's unrealistic. My gosh, we conservatives lived through 8 years of Barack Obama, the most socialist, and I'll call it communist president that we have ever had. So if we can live through that, I'm sure they could live through Donald Trump. I mean, they're not going to die. They're not going to suffer. They're not going to starve. Actually, they're probably going to do a lot better than what they were under Barack Obama. They'll be a lot safer. Their jobs will be more secure. There'll be more jobs out there for them to find. So I don't think they have anything to worry about. And I think that as we go on in the Trump administration, more and more people are going to see that. And they're also going to see that these people out there are just crying wolf. The sky is falling. The sky is falling. The sky is not falling in, Dana.
It's not on them, but they may be the sky falling on us. It's because they've taken over countries before. Their philosophy, economic philosophy, is very much like Adolf Hitler's, and I'm talking about the rioters, the anti-free speech people who claim that they're against fascism, but they are the fascist. And it's hard to think. You had the brown shirts on the college campuses in Germany. What are they not doing that the Nazis did in the early days, before they got complete governmental control? What did the Nazis do in the 1920s that these, people that refer to themselves as liberals or progressives didn't do? Can you think of anything?
Well, Dana, I agree with you on that. And I'll take it another step farther. I think that they should bring back the Committee on Un-American Relations.
Yeah.
Or, I'm sorry,
Activities.
Committee on Un-American Activities. The Committee on Un-American Activities. Very popular in the early 1950s with Senator Joseph McCarthy. And it's villainized today, Dana. It's villainized by the liberal left. It was villainized by Hollywood, who was basically the target of those hearings.
Absolutely.
But if you look back on history, Joseph McCarthy was right on 97% 97% of his accusations.
You're a very
the liberal
well-read
left
man,
want to
Rick.
pick on the 2 or 3% where he was wrong, but the Committee on Un-American Activities was a good tool, and I think that we should bring it back. We need to find out who is funding these demonstrations and these riots. And another thing, Dana, they should be held liable in civil and criminal courts.
Yes. You know, in the issue, I'm very free, very pro-free speech. But one of the things you don't have the right to do in America from the beginning is to encourage criminal activity. And it's a crime to burn down buildings and break their windows in. But that's what these people are doing in Berkeley. And so anyone that goes out and says, do this, that is not protected speech. And it was in the San Francisco Chronicle today. They had an article, and they interviewed someone, and he gave his name and everything. And he said, I think these, he called them something else, but they were riots. I think these riots in Berkeley were great, you can, replace windows. You can't replace people's lives. And, I think this is very successful. And if this guy ever tries to speak again in Berkeley, we'll do the same thing. And so the San Francisco Chronicle did this interview, printed this article with no negative comments at all. It's like, this is, rioting and arson is just fine as long as you do it in accordance, let's say, with the Democrat Communist Party philosophy. And that's not protected free speech. What's protected free speech is what the guy was trying to talk was doing. He was just going to talk about politics. And I guess he'd been invited by the Berkeley Young Republican Club at the University of Berkeley. And they just said, basically these rioters, these anti-free speech people say only, like communist ideas or Democratic Party ideas, these are the only ideas that are allowed to be spoken at a university. And that is totally against the purpose of a university. And that's what's going on. Are you near a computer, Rick?
I am in front of one right now, Dana, as I am for every show.
Very
my eyes have gotten so bad, Dana. It's the 8 years that I have given to the Conservative Commando's radio show.
Yeah.
As George Washington said at one time, and I don't mean to equate myself with George Washington, but what he said one time is, I've gone blind in service to my country. So yes, I am in front of the
Well, if you go to aun-tv.com, we've got a video up, and it's of a professor at New York University. And it's almost all F words. That's warn the listeners here right away. But I mean, it's just total Nazi, fascist, communist type stuff. And she's screaming with hatred in her voice, saying, you police people, you should be beating up these people that are trying to do free speech. And what it was is this guy Gavin McInnes. He's well-known comedian, and he's on Fox TV all the time, and these students and professors were just outraged that someone was allowed to say something that disagreed with their thoughts. And they did this, and they held up signs saying anti-fascist. And they are the fascists. They are the fascists. I mean, it's appalling, I put a comment at the end of this article that, since she was begging the police to beat people just because, they were, according to her, fascist. Well, she's the fascist. So what she's really doing was asking the police to beat herself up, and I think if they could have gotten legal permission to do it, I wouldn't be surprised if some of the policemen would like to have done it.
Well, they certainly are interesting times that we live in, Dana. And these people are totally, totally unhinged. They're so different. They are acting so different than we acted when Barack Obama won his elections. What we did is we went out, we protested, we demonstrated without breaking windows, without being obscene, without hurting people. We picked up our trash. We picked up our garbage. We went to work. We elected a House of Representatives, and then we elected a Congress. We didn't act like a bunch of spoiled brats. We didn't act like a bunch of children. Hey, Dana, got to take a break, and you are listening to the Conservative Commandos radio show with Dana Allen, President and CEO of AUN-TV.com, and yours truly, Rick Trader. And we're coming to you from the studios of the Conservative Commandos radio network at WNJC 1360 in Philadelphia, and around the world on the internet with American Patriots Broadcasting, TalkStream Live, SHR Media, K98 Talk, iHeartRadio, AM, FM 24/7. Today's show, like all our shows, is being brought to you by the First Amendment and protected by the Second. Dana and I will be right back with more news and commentary.
I really don't care. That's my prerogative. They say I'm nasty, but I...
The Conservative Commandos radio show is the commander of the Conservative Commandos radio network. We've established a front line of conservative leaders and ironclad patriots to revive the promise of America.
There must be some kind of way out of here.
We patriots have succeeded in securing the next 4 years of American prosperity, sovereignty, and liberty under President Donald Trump. But the fight is never over, and we must be forever vigilant.
Businessman there, drink my wine.
Do you have a passion for American values? Do you believe in preserving the American dream? If so, listen to the Conservative Commandos Radio Network, Monday through Saturday from 12 to 6 p.m. on WNJC Radio, 1360 AM, or around the world on the internet at ccrshow.com and ccrsnetwork.com. Check out our websites for rebroadcasts and network updates. We are the Conservative Commandos Radio Network, where even more newsmakers go to be heard.
Hi, I'm Kevin Wade. Conservative Commandos is happy to welcome Liberty HealthShare as a sponsor. Liberty HealthShare is a community of health-conscious Americans who practice long-standing Christian principles in sharing health care costs. Liberty HealthShare exists for everyone who purchases health care for themselves or their family, or who wants to control their own health care. I run a small business, and we were caught in the confusion of Washington's ever-changing health insurance requirements. We found a common-sense solution in Liberty HealthShare. Liberty HealthShare is not insurance. It simply unites like-minded Americans to share medical costs together. Join a community of health-conscious Americans who practice long-standing Christian principles in sharing health care costs. That's Liberty HealthShare. To find out how you can easily make the change, call Liberty HealthShare today at 855-585-4237. That's 855-585-4237, or visit their website at libertyhealthshare.org.
This is Pastor Christina Lamanier, chaplain for the Indiana Republican Assembly.
And I'm her husband, J.D. Manier. We won the election, but we must now install President Trump's nominees. We urge you to call the Capitol switchboard at 202-225-3121 and ask your senators to do their job. They need to confirm Judge Neil Gorsuch and remaining cabinet members.
We, the people, never want to see another Berkeley. The First Amendment doesn't give you the right to commit acts of violence. It pains us to watch anarchy unfold on college campuses, bus stops, and coffee shops. Thomas Jefferson said, all tyranny needs to gain a foothold is for people of good conscience to remain silent. Let us join in unity to pray for America. Once again, the number to call is 202-225-3121.
You can call the Conservative Commandos radio show at 856-227-1360. Your opinion counts at 856-227-1360.
This is Congressman Alan West, and you're listening to the Conservative Commando radio show.
If you'd like to hear rebroadcast today's show, please check out our websites, ccrsnetwork.com and ccrshow.com, or at 8 a.m. log on to Leading Edge Radio Network, or 11 p.m. log on to highplanestalkradio.com. And you can listen to us on any phone by calling 832-999-1199. Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos. Rick, I'm here today with the master, and I'm just Grasshopper. But Rick, did you take a look at that video in that article?
No, I haven't had a chance to, Dana, but I will.
Okay.
But I did see the protests as they were happening, the protests in New York and Berkeley. And again, Dana, that's not how we acted. We conservatives, that is not how we acted. That's not how we elected the House of Representatives. That's not how we elected the Senate, and that's not how we elected Donald Trump. I do think that these actions are going to have an effect on their side. I think the people in the middle, the moderates, are going to see through these bizarre activities, and I think the American people are going to see them as the fringe, as the wacky, loony fringe, because that's how they're acting. That's how they dress. That's what they say. They say wacky things.
Yeah, I've been an observer since I was a child. So I've been observing stuff since the 1960s, and there's been rough times in America. But in terms of the irrationality and just blindness, I think this is the worst it's ever been. That's how it perceives me. And in the article, at the very bottom of it, there is a YouTube video that you can click on and watch this New York University professor just yelling one F word after another, asking the police to beat up anyone that's a conservative. And on this thing, you have to look at just the still that's in the article, because in the still, someone's holding up a sign that says "Smash Fascism and White Supremacy." That's what it says, okay? And you look at this crowd, and all of them are fascist, and all of them are white. I think everyone should watch this. You're going to hear, like 50 F words in about 3 minutes in this thing. But I think everyone should watch this just to realize where these people are really coming from. And, it raises a question. People send their children to college so that they can become like this. That's not their intention. But it's like sometimes there's mindless traditions, like, work really hard and save up your money so you can send your children to college so they can become like Hillary Clinton and this fascist, college professor. That's not it. The reason, in the old days was if you sent someone to college, is that would help your child. They wouldn't be indoctrinated into being a communist. They wouldn't be indoctrinated into being against free speech. And they might actually learn something useful that could help them get a better job. But with what's going on, we have to ask ourselves, there's the guy that does Dirty Jobs. You know that TV show?
Mike Rowe.
Absolutely. He has talked about this, and we did another article on this at AUN-TV. In fact, we put out a video, and about 50,000 people have watched it on our YouTube channel. And it asked this question about education. Is it really a good idea? Is college education really a benefit? And Mike Rowe, he says the student debt problem is just insane. We have $1 trillion debt or whatever on this thing, and these people are being taught worthless things, and people that don't go to college that learn a real skill like welding or whatever can make far more money than someone that gets $60,000 into debt to get a history degree. And so I think this is one of the biggest mistakes being made in our country, that maybe more money is being wasted on this than anything else, is because I know people in their 40s and 50s are still trying to get out of student debt. And what did they receive in return for this huge financial burden on themselves? They get told a bunch of lies. That's, is that a good deal?
No, Dana, well, look at all the people that have gone to college and come out with degrees in things like sociology, okay?
Yeah.
Think of all the lawyers who went to college, through law school, come out and can't find a job, can't make a living at this time.
Yeah.
Dana, a lot of the things that are being taught in college today do not help people get a job. They do not prepare people for a job. And see, Dana, I'm an expert on raising children because I don't have any. And therefore, I don't have any of the biases that come along with being a parent. These parents that send their kids to school spend $50,000, $60,000 a year to send their kids to school. They graduate. They have a degree that they cannot use. They absolutely cannot use. They're not prepared for any workforce. They've got themselves to blame because they let their kids do this. You know, Dana, I am in favor of people paying their own way. I think that if kids paid that tuition themselves, worked and paid for that tuition, they would demand better classes. They would demand better preparation for the real world.
Absolutely, Rick. You're absolutely right. It's the student debt thing where, you know, these kids, they're not really, you know, smart enough to be honest about it.
Yes.
They don't have the financial knowledge to know how dangerous what they're getting involved with is. That this is the only type of debt that you can't use bankruptcy to get out of. And that if you put yourself in the whole $60,000 to get a college education, what a tremendous drag this is going to be on them for the rest of their lives, you know. And if they, but that's how they sucker them into this. They go, oh, it's just numbers on a piece of paper. You know, it could be $5,000, but it's $50,000. That's just one digit, you know, just a tiny little. But that will plague them for the rest of their lives. And they need, if they did what you're talking about, they actually had to pay for it semester by semester, pay with their own cash. They'd question again before they would, you know, get themselves into this bind. And so, you know, maybe we should have a boycott on college aid. Maybe there's a better way of doing this. Maybe people don't physically have to go to a brick and mortar college. Maybe they can learn. Well, Dana, all there is,
and in my opinion, the answer to a lot of problems with kids being prepared for a job is we've lost something in this country, and that's the apprentice program.
Yes, there you go.
I believe in small government. I believe that we should not use the tax system for social engineering. However, it's done that way. So how about if we let people who own businesses hire people at less than minimum wage at a stipend like $5 an hour, and let's give them a tax credit to hire somebody and to train them for a real job.
That's fantastic.
A job where they can make real money at, be it plumbing, electricity, carpentry. Right. Because there's a lot of people out there with degrees, Dana, that cannot make a living. And they're the ones that are rioting at Berkeley, rioting in New York. They're the ones frustrated. That were part of the Occupy Wall Street crowd.
Absolutely. You're very insightful, Rick, and these people are suffering.
If they had a job, Dana, they wouldn't be rioting. If they had to get up the next morning and go to work, they wouldn't be rioting, Dana.
They're suffering from WDS. You know, it's a horrible disease. WDS is worthless degree syndrome. Well, we're going to have to go into a break here. Please stay with us. We're coming to you live from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios, WNJC 1360, our flagship station in Philadelphia, and around the world on the Internet with American Patriots Broadcasting, TalkStream Live, SHR Media, K98 Talk, iHeartRadio, and AM, FM 24/7.
They say I'm crazy. I really don't care. That's my prerogative. They say I'm nasty, but I...
This is Rick Trader, host of the Conservative Commandos radio show.
And I'm John Forsyth, owner of WNJC Radio. Fellow patriots, the Conservative Commandos radio show is for conservatives, about conservatives, and by conservatives.
We are patriots who want to take our country back from the likes of Barack Obama, Harry Reid, George Soros, and Nancy Pelosi.
But we can't keep up this fight without your critical support today. Can you help? Please go to www.helpccrs.com right now and make a donation by credit card or PayPal. That's www.helpccrs.com.
Our goal is to expose the liberal agenda and distortions. We are fighting to spread the truth about political issues, political leaders, and conservative issues and values.
Our hosts are not paid. In fact, we buy our own airtime, studio time, and pay our own expenses.
We created the show because we are trying to make a difference. So can you help the CCRS expose the truth in 2014 and beyond? Go to www.helpccrs.com.
Help keep the Conservative Commandos radio show on the air by going to www.helpccrs.com and make a donation today to return our country to the conservative roots created by our founding fathers.
If your health care has become a burden and you're worried about being stuck for another year, you have options. Liberty Health Share could be the solution to your problem. Open enrollment is here and could be your chance to free yourself from insurance. Take this opportunity and join Liberty Health Share. You can finally be in control and have freedom when it comes to your health care. Liberty Health Share offers an entirely open network, which means you choose your doctors and you choose your hospitals. Liberty Health Share offers freedom from insurance, meaning no tax-related penalties. To find out how you can easily make the change, call Liberty Health Share today at 855-585-4237. That's 855-585-4237. Or visit their website at libertyhealthshare.org. That's libertyhealthshare.org.
What does it take to be the leader in production systems technology? To be the one company that solves production problems at any plant, for any product, and with any technology? It takes a 30-year record of success. It takes total mastery of complex technologies with a history of delivering success every time, without fail. Only one company can claim that high ground in manufacturing line optimization, data automation, and systems integration, and that's Philadelphia Control Systems. In factories worldwide, Philadelphia Control Systems programs, software, and engineering solutions deliver optimal performance and output flow with a record that can't be matched. Any plant, any product, any technology. Philadelphia Control Systems, the leader in production automation since 1982. 800-335-9811. PCS4automation.com. That's PCS, the number 4, automation.com.
The Conservative Commandos radio show is the commander of the Conservative Commandos radio network. We've established a front line of conservative leaders and ironclad patriots to revive the promise of America.
There must be some kind of way out of here.
We patriots have succeeded in securing the next 4 years of American prosperity, sovereignty, and liberty under President Donald Trump. But the fight is never over, and we must be forever vigilant.
Businessman there, drink my wine.
Do you have a passion for American values? Do you believe in preserving the American dream? If so, listen to the Conservative Commandos Radio Network, Monday through Saturday from 12 to 6 p.m. on WNJC Radio, 1360 AM, or around the world on the internet at ccrshow.com and ccrsnetwork.com. Check out our websites for rebroadcasts and network updates. We are the Conservative Commandos Radio Network, where even more newsmakers go to be heard.
From the East Coast to the West Coast and around the world on the internet, we're coming to you live from the CCRS studios. WNJC 1360. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show with your host, Rick Trader. The Conservative Commandos radio show, where the newsmakers go to be heard.
Businessman there, drink my wine.
You can call the Conservative Commandos radio show at 856-227-1360. Your opinion counts at 856-227-1360.
This is Congressman Alan West, and you're listening to the Conservative Commando Radio Show.
Welcome back. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos Radio Show with Dana Allen and yours truly, Rick Trader. And for rebroadcasts of our show, please check out our websites, ccrshow.com or ccrsnetwork.com, or at 8 a.m. log on to Leading Edge Radio Network, or at 11 p.m. highplainstalkradio.com, or you can hear our show any time of the day from your telephone by calling 832-999-1199. You don't need an app. You don't need to download anything. You just need a phone in this number, 832-999-1199. Dana, last night a federal appeals court held hearings on the Trump travel order. A federal appeals court heard arguments Tuesday on whether to restore Donald Trump's controversial immigration order, making a critical juncture for the president's directive temporarily banning refugees from 7 Muslim majority countries from entering the United States. Well, Dana, unfortunately, this case is being heard in that wacky liberal Ninth Circuit out in the West, and I do not feel good about these 3 judges favoring in Donald Trump, or favoring for Donald Trump. But in lieu of that, Dana, there is something that every American can do to help stem the tide of this illegal immigration. And that is report illegal aliens to ICE. And you can report illegal aliens to Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, by calling 1-866-347-2423. They'll need to know names, locations, either places of work or residence, and any other specific information. You can also go on their website, www.ice.gov, for more information. But if you know of someone who is here illegally, report them to ICE. This is something that we all can do to help stem this tide of illegal immigration. Call ICE, and again, that telephone number is 866-347-2423. Something everyone can do. Be a patriot. Report an illegal to ICE.
That's very good, Rick. That's interesting. You know, for the last previous 3 administrations, and that would be Clinton, Bush, and Obama. The people that work for ICE want to enforce the laws, but the administrations didn't want the laws enforced. And multiple cases of this. A sheriff in Colorado caught a van with 18 illegals in it, and they called up ICE. This happened, I believe, in the Bush or the Obama administration. It says, I just caught them, and they say, release them. What do you mean? We just caught them. We got 18. They've all confessed. They're all illegal aliens. They go, release them. Directly from ICE, because that's what ICE was being told to do. So I think things have changed now, and if you do as you talk about, report someone to ICE, I think that this will actually get enforced. And I haven't heard any rumors that they don't want to enforce the immigration laws anymore. Have you?
No, I haven't, and I agree with you, Dana. I think that the customs officials, the Border Patrol, is looking to do their job. I think they really want to do their job. I think that under President Trump, they will see that they're allowed to do their job now. But, we all can be eyes and ears for our country. And that's, if you see illegals, if you hear of illegals, report them to ICE. Make a phone call. It's a toll-free number, 1-866-347-2423. Report them. It's your duty as a citizen. These people have broken our laws to come here. Dana, have you ever made, or have you ever been accused of making an illegal entry into the country?
Well, I was born here, but I've been to Mexico a lot of times, and it's one of the advantages of the United States is there's a lot more corruption and bribery. And
well,
so
have
the
you
very
ever
first
been
time
accused
I was there,
of making an illegal entry into the country?
No, I never have.
I have.
Oh, really?
And what the circumstances of were, as a pilot, I was flying back into the United States from Canada. I had to file a flight plan called an AVCUS flight plan, which means advise customs that I was coming. Huh. The message went to the wrong airport. So when I landed, I was arrested by Customs and Immigration. And this is what I was told, Dana.
Uh-huh.
You have made an illegal entry into the United States. You're subject to a $10,000 fine and 5 years in jail.
Wow.
Now, making an illegal entry into the country is a misdemeanor. However, if you are apprehended and deported and make another entry into the country, then it is a felony.
Wow.
It is
but they
the
couldn't
law.
Deport you because you're an American
Dana, we
citizen.
have the laws on the books. We don't need immigration reform. What we need is our immigration laws adhered to and followed and enforced.
Right.
So again, Dana, I want to give out this number.
Sure.
For our listeners. And I'm asking our listeners to become the eyes and the ears to please report anyone they know of that is in this country illegally. And that number is 1-866-347-2423. They'll need to know things like names and locations, either a workplace or a residence, and maybe some other information. But here's also their website, www.ice.gov, www.ice.gov. Dana, if these liberal judges are not going to protect us, we need to protect ourselves, our friends, our families, and our neighbors by reporting these people that are here illegally.
Sure. Yeah, that could definitely put an end to it. And people out there, especially if you know someone's up to no good, some type of other criminal activity, you're not necessarily positive about someone's immigration status. Well, in case they are illegal, that's a way that you can get rid of, basically a bad actor if they end up being illegal. Did I ever tell you? Oh, after we have to go to a break right now, and I'm supposed to be the one doing it. So we're coming to you live from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios, WNJC 1360, our flagship station in Philadelphia, and around the world on the Internet with American Patriots Broadcasting, TalkStream Live, SHR Media, K98 Talk, iHeartRadio, and AM, FM 24/7.
They say I'm crazy. I really don't care. That's my prerogative. They say I'm nasty, but
The Conservative Commandos Radio Show is the commander of the Conservative Commandos Radio Network. We've established a front line of conservative leaders and ironclad patriots to revive the promise of America.
There must be some kind of way out of here.
We patriots have succeeded in securing the next 4 years of American prosperity, sovereignty, and liberty under President Donald Trump. But the fight is never over, and we must be forever vigilant.
Businessman there, drink my wine.
Do you have a passion for American values? Do you believe in preserving the American dream? If so, listen to the Conservative Commandos Radio Network, Monday through Saturday from 12 to 6 p.m. on WNJC Radio, 1360 AM, or around the world on the Internet at ccrshow.com and ccrsnetwork.com. Check out our websites for rebroadcasts and network updates. We are the Conservative Commandos Radio Network, where even more newsmakers go to be heard.
Hi, I'm Kevin Wade. Conservative Commandos is happy to welcome Liberty HealthShare as a sponsor. Liberty HealthShare is a community of health-conscious Americans who practice long-standing Christian principles in sharing health care costs. Liberty HealthShare exists for everyone who purchases health care for themselves or their family, or who wants to control their own health care. I run a small business, and we were caught in the confusion of Washington's ever-changing health insurance requirements. We found a common-sense solution in Liberty HealthShare. Liberty HealthShare is not insurance. It simply unites like-minded Americans to share medical costs together. Join a community of health-conscious Americans who practice long-standing Christian principles in sharing health care costs. That's Liberty HealthShare. To find out how you can easily make the change, call Liberty HealthShare today at 855-585-4237. That's 855-585-4237, or visit their website at libertyhealthshare.org.
This is Pastor Christina Lamanier, chaplain for the Indiana Republican Assembly.
And I'm her husband, J.D. Manier. We won the election, but we must now install President Trump's nominees. We urge you to call the Capitol Switchboard at 202-225-3121 and ask your senators to do their job. They need to confirm Judge Neil Gorsuch and remaining cabinet members.
We the people never want to see another Berkeley. The First Amendment doesn't give you the right to commit acts of violence. It pains us to watch anarchy unfold on college campuses, bus stops, and coffee shops. Thomas Jefferson said, all tyranny needs to gain a foothold is for people of good conscience to remain silent. Let us join in unity to pray for America. Once again, the number to call is 202-225-3121.
You can call the Conservative Commandos radio show at 856-227-1360. Your opinion counts at 856-227-1360.
This is Congressman Alan West, and you're listening to the Conservative Commando radio show.
If you'd like to hear rebroadcasts of today's show, please check out our websites, ccrsnetwork.com and ccrshow.com, or at 8 a.m. log on to Leading Edge Radio Network, or at 11 p.m. log on to highplains.talkradio.com. And you can listen to us at any time by just using your phone and calling 832-999-1199. We're glad to be back. I'm with Rick Trader, and he was telling us about how he once illegally entered the United States in an airplane. Maybe a little bit more color on that is that Rick is a pioneer in the ultralight flying area. If you're not familiar with that, those are planes that are so small that two strong men can pick one up off the ground. Is that correct, Rick?
Pretty much. The airplane that I flew was about 175 pounds. It was a kit-built aircraft and a lot of fun to fly.
Wow, that's way. I think the minimum is the maximum is 400 pounds, 176 pounds. Wow, that's really an ultralight.
Yeah, 375 pounds.
Oh, 270. Okay, that's more like it. Yeah, otherwise. Well, you know, I might be able to slightly one-up you on your illegal entry story, Rick. And I'm glad you didn't get put in prison, and I can talk about
No, I didn't get put in prison, but I was detained for a couple hours. They they searched me, they searched my airplane, they searched everything that I was carrying. And after 2 hours, they said, oh, we're sorry. Your AVCAS flight plan got sent to the wrong airport. And I'm a citizen. I'm a U.S. citizen, Dana.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't like I was trying to enter a foreign country. I was re-entering my country, the place where I was born and raised.
Right. Well, my illegal entry was to a foreign country, and in fact, I believe the first time I was ever out of the country, I was about 15 years old, and my father, a pilot, and they had a Cessna 336, and we're flying down to the Baja California area, the Cape area, near Cabo San Lucas. Was only 500 people at that time. This would be about 1968.
You should have bought real estate.
Yeah, absolutely should have. You know, I did not have a pilot's license, but I'd gone through ground school, and you were a little bit mystified by my instant message about sort of being a pilot. So I could fly. I mostly did as autopilot up in the air. I was the autopilot. My father would give me the heading, the altitude, and I'd fly. And then, that way you didn't have to buy an expensive autopilot. But so Cessna 336 is a twin-engine airplane. And so we left from the California border, my first time going to a foreign country, and we flew nonstop down to La Paz. And we came up, and we just see this huge concrete airstrip. And my father says, have you ever landed a plane, Dana? And I said, no. He says, this would be a great place to do it. He says, I'll talk you through it as you land the plane. This strip is huge. So, strip designed for 747s and everything. Mm-hmm. Great big international airport. So he talks me through it, and I was able to land without any problem. And then we get down the ground, and we've been sort of busy with my first landing ever, and hadn't noticed that there wasn't a single airplane on the ground. So we look over at the great big huge control tower, and there's no one in the control tower, and we look around some more, and we just see some workmen breaking forms on the edge of the airstrip, and the concrete was that super bright white it is when it's about 2 days old. And so we look back out on the strip, and there's only 2 skid marks on the whole strip. So I was the first person to land at this airport, whatever the heck airport it was. So we go, oh no, we're in trouble. We just came in from a foreign country, and they might suspect drug trafficking or something. So we got back up in the air immediately, and then we noticed about 10 miles away on the south side of La Paz, not the north side, was this great big asphalt strip with airplanes all over the place. So we went over and landed there. We're afraid that we're going to get caught. This would be an illegal entry, and we got out of there as fast as we could, okay? And then later...
the federals come around.
Absolutely, they just didn't catch on.
Yeah, they're not as nice. They're not as nice to Americans who come into their country illegally as we are to them when they come here illegally.
So later I took a flight, about 5 years ago down into La Paz International Air Mexicana flight. And I'm getting off the plane, and I told the captain, I said, do you know I was the first person to ever land an airplane at this airport? He says, Senor, what did you do to gain such an honor? And I told him this story, and he thought it was hilarious. I didn't have a pilot's license. It was my first landing in my life, and the airport wasn't open yet. It just, the concrete was maybe 2 years old 2 days old when I landed on it. So that's my illegal entry story, Rick.
You weren't arrested. Hey, Dana, we got a couple of great guests lined up for today.
We absolutely do. We have Craig Bannister. He's the editor-in-chief for MRC TV, that's Media Research Center, and he's talking actually about how in education systems they're, feeling that their students are being horribly harassed by President Trump and traumatized by this, and so we'll find out what Craig has to say about that. And then we have another great guest, and that is later on. It's Jeff Dunnans. And he is going to be talking about global warming and why the NOAA has fudged the climate data to try to make global warming look like it's still happening when it's actually paused.
All right, so we do have a couple of great guests lined up for our audience today. Dana, again, talking about illegal immigration. Another story here coming out of Investors Business Daily. Despite almost nonstop criticism from politicians, business leaders, the media, over President Trump's decision to suspend refugees for up to 120 days, the public still supports Trump by a margin of 51% to 48%, according to the latest Investors Business Daily poll. So we the people of the United States want our laws enforced. Dana, what I would like to know, and sometimes maybe we'll get somebody like Hans von Spakovsky from the Heritage Foundation on. Let's say these liberal judges, these liberal activist judges, by their actions, permit a terrorist into this country. Mm-hmm. Now, this terrorist blows up a bomb and kills someone's family member. Why can't that family sue these liberal judges for their actions that permitted this to happen?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, I think back to a story. There was a Fuller Brush salesman. You remember Fuller Brush, right, Dana?
Absolutely. I remember
they
the guy
were
with the crew cut.
independent contractors, independent salespeople. They sold brushes, soaps, and other things door to door and party plan. Anyway, one of these Fuller Brush men went to a home. There was a young lady there. He raped her. Fuller Brush was held responsible for that man's actions. Now, can you make a scenario whereas that if somebody is allowed to come here because the actions of a liberal judge, and one of these people commits a crime, that the victim of the crime or the family, can they sue the judge? Can a judge be sued for dereliction of duty?
You know, I think they've written special laws just to protect themselves that, you know, basically politicians and judges are not liable for their actions.
Well, you know, we've got laws now, Dana, that people are ignoring. We have a law that says the President of the United States, through executive action to protect the country, can limit people from coming here. We have laws. Those laws are being ignored, Dana.
Yep, I know. You know, they could be impeached. That would be a good idea. And
well, maybe Donald Trump should sic the Justice Department on these liberal activist judges, like in the Ninth Court, that have ignored our laws and have ignored our Constitution for years, and impeach these judges on the premise of failure to uphold their law to defend the Constitution of the United States.
Sure. Yeah, it's a huge problem, and I think there could be a justification for doing it. It's not them disagreeing with them; it's them not upholding the Constitution. And there's a whole school of thought in the legal world where they don't believe in the Constitution, but they have to become a judge. You have to take an oath to protect the Constitution. So this whole school of thought is basically illegal.
Impeach them.
Yep,
Throw
absolutely.
them out. Kick their butts to the curb, because if they're not enforcing the law, if they're making up the law as they go, depending upon, quote-unquote, how they feel about things, they are violating their oath of office.
Yes.
Kick their butts to the curb.
Yes.
Hey, Dana, break time one more time, and you are listening to the Conservative Commandos radio show with Dana Allen, and yours truly, Rick Trader, coming to you from the studios of the Conservative Commandos radio network at WNJC 1360 in Philadelphia, and around the world on the internet with American Patriots Broadcasting, TalkStream Live, SHR Media, K98 Talk, iHeartRadio, AM, FM 24/7. Today's show, like all our shows, is being brought to you by the First Amendment and protected by the Second. On the other side, we're going to be talking with Craig Bannister from CNS News and the Media Research Center. Be right back.
That's my prerogative. They say I'm nasty, but
This is Rick Trader, host of the Conservative Commandos radio show.
And I'm John Forsyth, owner of WNJC Radio. Fellow patriots, the Conservative Commandos radio show is for conservatives, about conservatives, and by conservatives.
We are patriots who want to take our country back from the likes of Barack Obama, Harry Reid, George Soros, and Nancy Pelosi.
But we can't keep up this fight without your critical support today. Can you help? Please go to www.helpccrs.com right now and make a donation by credit card or PayPal. That's www.helpccrs.com.
Our goal is to expose the liberal agenda and distortions.
We are fighting to spread the truth about political issues, political leaders, and conservative issues and values.
Our hosts are not paid. In fact, we buy our own airtime, studio time, and pay our own expenses.
We created the show because we are trying to make a difference. So can you help the CCRS expose the truth in 2014 and beyond? Go to www.helpccrs.com.
Help keep the Conservative Commandos radio show on the air. by going to www.helpccrs.com and make a donation today to return our country to the conservative roots created by our founding fathers.
If your health care has become a burden and you're worried about being stuck for another year, you have options. Liberty Health Share could be the solution to your problem. Open enrollment is here and could be your chance to free yourself from insurance. Take this opportunity and join Liberty Health Share. You can finally be in control and have freedom when it comes to your health care. Liberty Health Share offers an entirely open network, which means you choose your doctors and you choose your hospitals. Liberty Health Share offers freedom from insurance, meaning no tax-related penalties. To find out how you can easily make the change, call Liberty Health Share today at 855-585-4237. That's 855-585-4237. Or visit their website at libertyhealthshare.org. That's libertyhealthshare.org.
What does it take to be the leader in production systems technology? To be the one company that solves production problems at any plant, for any product, and with any technology? It takes a 30-year record of success. It takes total mastery of complex technologies with a history of delivering success every time, without fail. Only one company can claim that high ground in manufacturing line optimization, data automation, and systems integration, and that's Philadelphia Control Systems. In factories worldwide, Philadelphia Control Systems programs, software, and engineering solutions deliver optimal performance and output flow with a record that can't be matched. Any plant, any product, any technology. Philadelphia Control Systems, the leader in production automation since 1982. 800-335-9811. PCS4automation.com. That's PCS, the number 4, automation.com.
The Conservative Commandos Radio Show is the commander of the Conservative Commandos Radio Network. We've established a front line of conservative leaders and ironclad patriots to revive the promise of America.
There must be some kind of way out of here.
We patriots have succeeded in securing the next 4 years of American prosperity, sovereignty, and liberty under President Donald Trump. But the fight is never over, and we must be forever vigilant.
Businessman there, drink my wine.
Do you have a passion for American values? Do you believe in preserving the American dream? If so, listen to the Conservative Commandos Radio Network, Monday through Saturday from 12 to 6 p.m. on WNJC Radio, 1360 AM, or around the world on the internet at ccrshow.com and ccrsnetwork.com. Check out our websites for rebroadcasts and network updates. We are the Conservative Commandos Radio Network, where even more newsmakers go to be heard.
From the East Coast to the West Coast and around the world on the internet, we're coming to you live from the CCRS studios. WNJC 1360. This is the Conservative Commandos Radio Show with your host, Rick Trader. The Conservative Commandos Radio Show, where the newsmakers go to be heard.
Businessman there, drink my wine.
You can call the Conservative Commandos Radio Show at 856-227-1360. Your opinion counts at 856-227-1360.
This is Congressman Alan West, and you're listening to the Conservative Commando Radio Show.
If you'd like to hear a rebroadcast of today's show, please check out our website website, ccrsnetwork.com and ccrshow.com. Or at 8 a.m., you can log on to Leading Edge Radio Network. At 11 p.m., you can log on to High Plains Talk Radio, and you can listen to us at any time by calling us at 832-999-1199. I'm very pleased to have Craig Bannister with us today. Craig is the editor-in-chief for mrctv.org. It's a multimedia blog blending hard-hitting topical news and original videos with engaging viral content on popular social media. A division of the Media Research Center, mrctv.org, provides readers with important news that is often ignored or misreported by other media outlets. Craig, welcome back to the Conservative Commandos.
Yes, hi.
Good. I'm curious, were you with MRC when Mark Morano was still working there?
Oh, absolutely. I started when Mark Morano was still here, and spent quite a bit of time making him famous by pitching his stories.
I'll have to tell Mark that. I just before Mark went to work there, he worked with me at with NET TV, and which later became America's Voice for the American Investigator television show.
Oh, right. That was the same time he was Rush Limbaugh's man in Washington back when Rush had a TV show.
That's right. He had the trench coat and went around when it was 20 degrees below zero. If he asked people if they believed in global warming, and they would be shivering, and they'd say, "Oh yes, I believe in global warming." So yeah, I think actually, Craig, I think we've met. I've been over to your operation several times, and your name sounded very familiar. So I think somewhere in the past we probably met. There's this new thing that revolves around immigration and some of the things that Trump has done, and you've written on this, and I understand that in the Denver School of Sciences and Technology that they are warning the parents about how bad the situation is, and in fact I'm reading from this thing that you have that they said that President Trump's recent actions have left many members of our community with anxiety, fear, and doubt. We want to assure you that the DSST will do everything in our power to protect all members of our school community from harassment, deportation, intimidation, and discrimination. Is that a problem, Craig?
Well, it certainly sounds like they're suborning criminal activity, doesn't it? If people are here illegally and are required by law to be deported, doesn't that mean that they are harboring fugitives by saying we will do everything in our power to protect them from deportation?
That's right. That'd be like saying we'll do everything in our power to protect burglars from being arrested.
That's right.
Different type.
We don't want people discriminating against burglars because of the law.
Yeah. This. I'll tell you, just this is just a side thing. I was in the grocery store line just about the time of the election, and there was a lady in front of me, probably of Mexican descent, and she was telling the grocery, checker guy, he says, "Oh, you won't believe what my children said today. They came back from school all scared, and they, these would be grammar school-age children. They said that if Trump's elected, he's going to kill all the Mexicans."
Really?
Seriously.
Wow! I wish I'd had that scoop. That would have made quite a story.
I know. It's these things. It's trying to generate fear amongst the population to get political advantage. And I think the things that we really have to fear is fire bombs and windows being broken by the people in Berkeley or New York University trying to end free speech. And the stuff that this Denver school is talking about, I don't know anyone that's ever talked about this. Do you?
You have to wonder whether there will come a point when the public, even the most what would you say, naive public, would begin to see that the sky isn't actually falling. People keep screaming that Trump's going to put people in internment camps and kill all the Mexicans, and I'm wondering if at some point people will realize that all these things that the left-wing media is warning them of, and that the liberal professors and teachers are claiming just isn't true, that it's exaggeration. Now these were letters sent to the parents of 12 different schools, and they were talking about how they were looking out for the emotional safety of these students, because, again, the snowflakes of today's youth can't bear to be assaulted by any type of opinion or thought that might disagree with their particular worldview, which is why they're rioting at universities to prevent conservatives from being able to speak at NYU and out in California. And I guess the school has taken it upon itself to protect their students from any type of disagreeable thought. Now, one of the letters says that Trump's actions have left members of our community with fear, with anxiety, fear, and doubt. Another one says that the members of the community are filled with anxiety, fear, and anger. Well, that certainly sounds threatening, doesn't it?
Yep, it does. It does. You know, where can people see your thoughts on this, Craig?
Well, there are two places. This particular story is up on mrctv.org, which is a multimedia video-centric blog for the Media Research Center. But most prominently, they can find my ramblings on the blog of cnsnews.com, which is the news site of the Media Research Center.
Yes. Yep, and that's CNS is where you made Mark Morano famous.
Oh yes, he did his first ever Fox television interview. Thanks.
I did not know that.
Thanks to my efforts, CNS News hadn't been on television before, and now the paradigm was a little bit different back in those days, because Mark went out and was getting some really interesting exclusive video of liberals and congressmen and celebrities saying outrageous things, and I was able to basically hold that video hostage if a network wanted to air it in exchange for getting him on the air. Nowadays, with the new internet paradigm, everything is embeddable, and if there's a video up there, people can pretty much get their hands on it and post it.
Yep, gotcha. I didn't. That's you use some leverage on them. That's really interesting. You know, do you think there's this huge I don't know what to call it, irrationality or whatever, where if someone just uses the term illegal alien, that's just beyond the pale. But throwing bricks through windows and fire bombs at police, that's just fine. Do you think, Craig, that these people doing this type of stuff, do you think they're really that stupid and I don't know what the word to use, deluded, or do you think they are aware of how hypocritical they're being?
Well, I think that a lot of what Rush Limbaugh would call low information voters are simply taking the cliches that MSNBC feeds them on faith, that Paul Ryan hates illegal immigrants, Donald Trump wants to kill Mexicans, and they just take it on faith and repeat it because it's much easier than actually doing the research and viewing something askance with a skeptical, critical eye. And the media and the liberal activists have done a very effective job of conflating illegal aliens with immigrants, with legal immigrants, claiming, well, the Republicans hate immigrants. Well, no, they don't. But they are against people breaking into the country illegally. There's quite a difference, and to lump the two together is a serious injustice.
Absolutely, Craig. We have to go into break right now, but I'd like to ask you about you've mentioned this article by Congressman Lamar Smith, and when we come back from the break, we'd love to go into that with you, Craig.
Absolutely.
We are coming to you live from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios, WNJC 1360, our flagship station in Philadelphia, and around the world on the Internet with American Patriots Broadcasting, TalkStream Live, SHR Media, K98 Talk, iHeartRadio, and AM, FM 24/7.
They say I'm crazy. I really don't care. That's my prerogative. They say I'm nasty, but I...
The Conservative Commandos Radio Show is the commander of the Conservative Commandos Radio Network. We've established a front line of conservative leaders and ironclad patriots to revive the promise of America.
There must be some kind of way out of here.
We patriots have succeeded in securing the next 4 years of American prosperity, sovereignty, and liberty under President Donald Trump. But the fight is never over, and we must be forever vigilant.
Businessman there, drink my wine.
Do you have a passion for American values? Do you believe in preserving the American dream? If so, listen to the Conservative Commandos Radio Network, Monday through Saturday from 12 to 6 p.m. on WNJC Radio, 1360 AM, or around the world on the Internet at ccrshow.com and ccrsnetwork.com. Check out our websites for rebroadcasts and network updates. We are the Conservative Commandos Radio Network, where even more newsmakers go to be heard.
Hi, I'm Kevin Wade. Conservative Commandos is happy to welcome Liberty HealthShare as a sponsor. Liberty HealthShare is a community of health-conscious Americans who practice long-standing Christian principles in sharing health care costs. Liberty HealthShare exists for everyone who purchases health care for themselves or their family, or who wants to control their own health care. I run a small business, and we were caught in the confusion of Washington's ever-changing health insurance requirements. We found a common-sense solution in Liberty HealthShare. Liberty HealthShare is not insurance. It simply unites like-minded Americans to share medical costs together. Join a community of health-conscious Americans who practice long-standing Christian principles in sharing health care costs. That's Liberty HealthShare. To find out how you can easily make the change, call Liberty HealthShare today at 855-585-4237. That's 855-585-4237, or visit their website at libertyhealthshare.org.
This is Pastor Christina Lamanier, chaplain for the Indiana Republican Assembly.
And I'm her husband, J.D. Manier. We won the election, but we must now install President Trump's nominees. We urge you to call the Capitol Switchboard at 202-225-3121 and ask your senators to do their job. They need to confirm Judge Neil Gorsuch and remaining cabinet members.
We, the people, never want to see another Berkeley. The First Amendment doesn't give you the right to commit acts of violence. It pains us to watch anarchy unfold on college campuses, bus stops, and coffee shops. Thomas Jefferson said, all tyranny needs to gain a foothold is for people of good conscience to remain silent. Let us join in unity to pray for America. Once again, the number to call is 202-225-3121.
You can call the Conservative Commandos Radio Show at 856-227-1360. Your opinion counts at 856-227-1360. 227-1360.
This is Congressman Alan West, and you're listening to the Conservative Commando Radio Show.
If you'd like to hear a rebroadcast of today's show, please check out our websites, ccrsnetwork.com and ccrshow.com, or at 8 a.m. you can log on to Leading Edge Radio Network, and at 11 p.m. you can log on to highplains.talkradio.com. You can listen to us at any time by calling on your phone 832-999-1199. We have Craig Bannister with MRC TV with us, and I have to apologize, Craig. You're actually the author of the article. You just mentioned Lamar Smith in it.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. And do you think, and the title of your article is "The American People Are Smarter Than the Media Thinks," and tell us about that.
Well, that was a quote on a House floor speech by Representative Lamar Smith from Texas, who, incidentally, is the chairman of the House Media Fairness Caucus. Did you know that there is a House Media Fairness Caucus?
You got me, and I'm a media guy, and I didn't know that existed.
Well, there is, and he's the chairman of it, and they're not looking to take on the media, but basically to try to point out instances where the media has been less than honest. So it's not meant to be an adversarial organization or group, but yes, indeed. Basically, Representative Smith was talking about the constant barrage of slanted stories that the media are using to, what his words, savage President Trump's immigration orders. He points out how the media have been twisting words, facts, and poll results to try and turn the public against him. And he says, but it didn't work. The American people are smarter than the media thinks, and apparently that's the case because Quinnipiac, Rasmussen polls, and a few others do indeed show that the majority of the American people do support the temporary ban, or at least the extreme vetting of people coming to the United States from state sponsors of terror.
And that's really the key, because it's not whether they come from a Muslim country. The biggest Muslim country is Indonesia, and that's not on the list. It's where there's been troubles with, as you say it, where there's evidence that the governments of those countries actually support terrorism, is where he's trying to restrict.
And it really is pretty astounding, the efforts that are made to spin this into the claims of a public, overwhelming public disdain for this order, when in fact it isn't true. As the Rasmussen report shows, however, that it is the country is extremely divided by political party. I believe it was 82% of Republicans favor the ban. 71% of Democrats oppose it. So the country is divided there. Independents, a majority of independents, do favor the ban. So you do see that it's very, very contentious, but there's a lot of misinformation being put out there by the media about what the ban constitutes and exactly how popular it is or isn't with the American people.
Right. Yeah, they definitely tried to do that. Just perchance that Barack Obama had done the exact same order 1 year ago. Craig, what do you think would be the percentage of Democrats in polls that would say they would support the exact same declaration if it had been made by Obama instead of by Trump?
Well, I think you have your answer from, was it 2011, when Barack Obama did institute a 6-month ban on people coming to the U.S. from Iraq. And you didn't hear much about that in the media, nor from the Democrats. And as some of the media have tried to spin comparisons that, this is completely different because Obama did it in private. Well, okay, so the most transparent, the self-professed most transparent administration in history got away with it because they didn't tell Americans about the ban.
Doing something hidden is okay, but doing it out in the public isn't, even if it's the exact same.
Right. Again, it is a fascinating twist and leap of logic, much like conflating illegal immigrants with the people who actually went through the system and applied to come to this country and did so in a court and had enough respect for our laws to abide by them.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Do you think, Craig, that something good may come out of this whole, all these things that you're talking about, where the media has just gone to extra extreme measures trying to, sabotage, let's say, the Trump administration? Last night I heard Piers Morgan, and he was on Fox, and he says, politically I'm right with the Washington Post and CBS and NBC and, the New York Times. But he himself is appalled at how unprofessional they've been and how dishonest they've been in their reporting. And so do you think something maybe good will actually come out of them just going so overboard on this stuff?
Well, when Piers Morgan is accusing someone on the left of being biased, I think you really have to stand back and take pause. As far as something good coming out of this, it's hard to say. Trust in the media is at or near all-time lows if you look at the polls. And as Brent Bozell declared prior to the election, that the media has seemingly abandoned even the pretense of journalistic objectivity. You even have Jorge Ramos from Univision coming out and rallying reporters, calling on them to abandon objectivity and do everything they can to stop Trump. So I think if there's good to come of this, it's that the game is up, as Lamar Smith said. The American people aren't falling for it. They're smarter than that, and it's becoming more and more obvious to people who look at this logically that the media is trying to sell an agenda rather than report the news.
Right. Well, we have to go into a hard break here, but Craig, I really appreciate you coming on, and I'm on your site, mrctv.org, and I see a story that you have up there that really caught my attention. I have to read it later, and it says, Donald Trump is adored in Kenya by NPR. So I got to see what that's about. But thank you so much for coming on, and also tell us, in addition to that site, what other sites our listeners should go to see your work.
CNSnews.com.
Fantastic. Thank you again, Craig. And
always a pleasure.
Excellent. We're coming to you live from Conservative Commando's Radio Network Studios, WNJC 1360, our flagship station in Philadelphia, and around the world on the Internet with American Patriots Broadcasting, TalkStream Live, SHR Media, K98 Talk, iHeartRadio, and AM, FM 24/7.
This is Rick Trader, host of the Conservative Commandos radio show.
And I'm John Forsyth, owner of WNJC Radio. Fellow patriots, the Conservative Commandos radio show is for conservatives, about conservatives, and by conservatives.
We are patriots who want to take our country back from the likes of Barack Obama, Harry Reid, George Soros, and Nancy Pelosi.
But we can't keep up this fight without your critical support today. Can you help? Please go to www.helpccrs.com right now and make a donation by credit card or PayPal. That's www.helpccrs.com.
Our goal is to expose the liberal agenda and distortions.
We are fighting to spread the truth about political issues, political leaders, and conservative issues and values.
Our hosts are not paid. In fact, we buy our own airtime, studio time, and pay our own expenses.
We created the show because we are trying to make a difference. So can you help the CCRS expose the truth in 2014 and beyond? Go to www.helpccrs.com.
Help keep the Conservative Commandos radio show on the air by going to www.helpccrs.com and make a donation today to return our country to the conservative roots created by our founding fathers.
If your health care has become a burden and you're worried about being stuck for another year, you have options. Liberty Health Share could be the solution to your problem. Open enrollment is here and could be your chance to free yourself from insurance. Take this opportunity and join Liberty Health Share. You can finally be in control and have freedom when it comes to your health care. Liberty Health Share offers an entirely open network, which means you choose your doctors and you choose your hospitals. Liberty Health Share offers freedom from insurance, meaning no tax-related penalties. To find out how you can easily make the change, call Liberty Health Share today at 855-585-4237. That's 855-585-4237. Or visit their website at libertyhealthshare.org. That's libertyhealthshare.org.
What does it take to be the leader in production systems technology? To be the one company that solves production problems at any plant, for any product, and with any technology? It takes a 30-year record of success. It takes total mastery of complex technologies with a history of delivering success every time, without fail. Only one company can claim that high ground in manufacturing line optimization, data automation, and systems integration, and that's Philadelphia Control Systems. In factories worldwide, Philadelphia Control Systems programs, software, and engineering solutions deliver optimal performance and output flow with a record that can't be matched. Any plant, any product, any technology. Philadelphia Control Systems, the leader in production automation since 1982. 800-335-9811. PCS4automation.com. That's PCS, the number 4, automation.com.
The Conservative Commandos radio show is the commander of the Conservative Commandos radio network. We've established a front line of conservative leaders and ironclad patriots to revive the promise of America.
There must be some kind of way out of here.
We patriots have succeeded in securing the next 4 years of American prosperity, sovereignty, and liberty under President Donald Trump. But the fight is never over, and we must be forever vigilant.
Businessman there, drink my wine.
Do you have a passion for American values? Do you believe in preserving the American dream? If so, listen to the Conservative Commandos Radio Network, Monday through Saturday from 12 to 6 p.m. on WNJC Radio, 1360 AM, or around the world on the internet at ccrshow.com and ccrsnetwork.com. Check out our websites for rebroadcasts and network updates. We are the Conservative Commandos Radio Network, where even more newsmakers go to be heard.
From the East Coast to the West Coast and around the world on the internet.
We're coming to you live from the CCRS studios. WNJC 1360. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show with your host, Rick Trader. The Conservative Commandos radio show, where the newsmakers go to be heard.
Businessman there, drink my wine.
You can call the Conservative Commandos radio show at 856-227-1360. Your opinion counts at 856-227-1360.
This is Congressman Alan West, and you're listening to the Conservative Commando Radio Show.
If you'd like to hear rebroadcasts of today's show, please check out our websites, ccrsnetwork.com and ccrshow.com. Or at 8 a.m., you can log on to Leading Edge Radio Network, or at 11 p.m., you can log on to highplanestalkradio.com. And you can listen to us on the phone at any time by calling 832-999-1199. I'm very pleased to have with us today Jeff Dunans, and he is the editor and publisher of The Lid. It's a weekly political column, and he also writes for the Jewish Star and Truth Revolt, and he has contributed to Breitbart.com, Hot Air, and PJ, Pajamas Media, Media's Tattler, and Jeff is also a blogger for MCRTV.org, and he's a co-host of Fomenting Freedom on SHR Media. Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos, Jeff.
Thanks, Rick. Just one correction.
Okay.
I actually write for my own site 3-4 times a day.
Ah, okay.
Not once a week.
And this is actually Dana Allen. The head honcho is Rick Trader. He's here also. And before we get into global warming, which I see you have an excellent article out on that, Jeff, one of your sites is Truth Revolt. And actually, I
used to work for Truth Revolt. Not anymore, but yeah.
Gotcha. I actually had that website. I guess great minds think alike, and I held that domain for a while, and then I gave it up. So I always get a kick whenever I read anything on Truth Revolt.
Right.
So
it's really my writing you can find at thelid.com.
Gotcha.
Lidblog.com.
Cool. Good. You know, a topic that's really fascinating is whether there's scientific corruption going on the issue of global warming, whether it's man-made or it's just natural. And you've written an article about the NOAA actually fudging the climate data. How would they go about doing that?
Basically, they were using corrupted data. And some data came from the buoys. In the sea, they have buoys floating with thermometers, basically. And some came from other places. And the stuff they got from ships, which is the other stuff, they knew was corrupt, and they used that. And they did the same thing with data that they had from the land, that it was corrupt. And they put it together using a computer program that 2.5 years later, it still hasn't been approved for use.
Wow. Is this the corrupt data? Is it a matter that they are doing it on purpose? They're corrupting the data, or are they rolling the dice? In other words, they're just doing this sloppily, and it might make global warming look, better or worse? Or do you think this is skewed corrupt data?
They were told to come up with something that refuted the pause. The pause is the fact that there has been no global warming since 1998. 98?
Yes.
Yeah, 98. And actually, using corrupt data is something that they do a lot. Like, for example, that study that said 97% of scientists agree about global warming?
I've only heard that repeated by politicians about 10,000 times.
Yes. Yeah, well, that study's bogus, too. In actuality, 97% of the scientists had no opinion. And about 0.006% thought that that global warming was man-made.
Wow!
So they do that a lot because it's almost like a cult. You ever watch stories about the religious cults where you have to believe the leader, whether they're right or wrong? You know, it's just as bad as that. And if you disagree with this cult, this fake religion, then they'll go after you. And in Nick's case, basically, the guy who became the whistleblower was the scientist at NOAA who wrote all the procedures in terms of making sure that they're only using good data, and they ignored everything. And as soon as he retired, he said, "This is ridiculous." And he basically told the truth. The reason why they wanted to disagree or to get rid of that gap. Now that gap, when you think of it, that pause, the fact that it hasn't warmed in 18 years kind of puts a dent in that theory.
It definitely does. You know, on that, you know, I've looked into this a great deal myself, and you know, for most of human history, you know, recorded human history, the last 6,000 years, the temperature has been warmer than it is today, and yet they claim that 2015 and 2016 are the warmest years ever. You know, from what you know, Jeff, was 2015 and 16 the warmest years ever?
Well, that's if you use the Earth data, and it's warmest since they've been collecting information. If you use the satellite data, which you understand something, the satellite data started to be used because the global warming scientists thought that it was better data. So they started to use it until it started showing a pause, and then they said, "No, we don't like that stuff." So, but
Now, there's also I think I've heard that they've actually done things like literally change the data. You know, like in Cincinnati in 1934, let's say the temperature was 95 degrees, that they've actually gone in and changed it to 91 degrees to try to make temperatures today look higher. Have you heard
anything? Yeah, they do that a lot.
That?
The other thing is that about 12,000 years ago, the CO2 levels were about 20 times what they are now.
How many years
ago? And the Earth didn't fall into the world didn't end. At least I don't think so. I mean, I started my car this morning.
Did you say just 20,000 years ago?
Just 20,000 years ago.
Wow, you know, okay. I'm a geologist. I have a degree in geology, and I know that, 100, 200 million years ago, CO2 levels were definitely higher. I didn't know it had been that recent that the CO2 levels have been that high. That just totally, basically, that torpedoes their whole premise.
Well, that's why they don't talk about it a lot. And you talk about when it was warmer. You know, the medieval warming period is something they don't like to talk about. And something else.
I guess it was in London. They had a street called what was it, Vineyard or something like that, because they used to grow grapes in London.
That was that I don't know.
They actually did. It was during the medieval warming period. It was so warm they're growing grapes in England.
Well, then there was the Little Ice Age, which here's the other part they don't tell you. Apparently, more than tracking with man, when there's a lot of sunspot activity, Earth's temperatures tend to get warmer.
Yep.
And when there's not a lot of sunspot activity, it tends to get cooler. And we're about to go into a period where there's not going to be a lot of sunspot activity. Okay?
So we should probably get it. We have to talk to you more about this. I have to go into break right now, Jeff, but when we come out, I'd like to hear much more about that.
Sure.
We are coming to you live from Conservative Commando's Radio Network Studios, WNJC 1360, our flagship station in Philadelphia, and around the world on the Internet with American Patriots Broadcasting, TalkStream Live, SHR Media, K98 Talk, iHeartRadio, and AM, FM 24/7.
They say I'm crazy. I really don't care.
Conservative Commandos radio show is the commander of the Conservative Commandos radio network. We've established a front line of conservative leaders and ironclad patriots to revive the promise of America.
There must be some kind of way out of here.
We patriots have succeeded in securing the next 4 years of American prosperity, sovereignty, and liberty under President Donald Trump. But the fight is never over, and we must be forever vigilant.
Businessman there, drink my wine.
Do you have a passion for American values? Do you believe in preserving the American dream? If so, listen to the Conservative Commandos Radio Network, Monday through Saturday from 12 to 6 p.m. on WNJC Radio, 1360 AM, or around the world on the internet at ccrshow.com and ccrsnetwork.com. Check out our websites for rebroadcasts and network updates. We are the Conservative Commandos Radio Network, where even more newsmakers go to be heard.
Hi, I'm Kevin Wade. Conservative Commandos is happy to welcome Liberty HealthShare as a sponsor. Liberty HealthShare is a community of health-conscious Americans who practice long-standing Christian principles in sharing health care costs. Liberty HealthShare exists for everyone who purchases health care for themselves or their family, or who wants to control their own health care. I run a small business, and we were caught in the confusion of Washington's ever-changing health insurance requirements. We found a common-sense solution in Liberty HealthShare. Liberty HealthShare is not insurance. It simply unites like-minded Americans to share medical costs together. Join a community of health-conscious Americans who practice long-standing Christian principles in sharing health care costs. That's Liberty HealthShare. To find out how you can easily make the change, call Liberty HealthShare today at 855-585-4237. That's 855-585-4237, or visit their website at libertyhealthshare.org.
This is Pastor Christina Lamanier, chaplain for the Indiana Republican Assembly.
And I'm her husband, J.D. Manier. We won the election, but we must now install President Trump's nominees. We urge you to call the Capitol Switchboard at 202-225-3121 and ask your senators to do their job. They need to confirm Judge Neil Gorsuch and remaining cabinet members.
We, the people, never want to see another Berkeley. The First Amendment doesn't give you the right to commit acts of violence. It pains us to watch anarchy unfold on college campuses, bus stops, and coffee shops. Thomas Jefferson said, all tyranny needs to gain a foothold is for people of good conscience to remain silent. Let us join in unity to pray for America. Once again, the number to call is 202-225-3121.
You can call the Conservative Commandos radio show at 856-227-1360. Your opinion counts at 856-227-1360.
This is Congressman Alan West, and you're listening to the Conservative Commando radio show.
If you'd like to hear rebroadcast today's show, please check out our website, ccrsnetwork.com and ccrshow.com, or at 8 a.m. log on to Leading Edge Radio Network, or at 11 p.m. log on to highplanestalkradio.com. And you can listen to us at any time on your phone by calling 832-999-1199. We're with Jeff Dunnes on talking about global warming. And Jeff, your article has so much great information in it.
Let me just start with a general thing, and you as a geologist will be able to appreciate this. If anybody ever tells you something is settled science, start walking away and check your wallet. There's no such thing as settled science. Am I correct?
More or less correct. I'd say that the Earth is a globe today, and it's been settled that it's not flat. But about 500 years ago, the consensus is that the Earth was flat, and if you sailed too far, you go off the edge. And people that said anything to the contrary were considered heretics. So yes, I do agree with your premise.
And also, the Flat Earth Society, the president believes that global warming is man-made.
Are you serious?
I'm not joking. God's honest truth. I wrote about it. Absolutely.
Now, is this on the lid? Is that where people can see it?
On lidblog.com. Yeah, I wrote about that. Because I actually use that every time I hear John Kerry or former, thank God, President Obama say that, well, if you don't believe in global warming, you're a flat earther. No, actually, you believe in global warming. And actually,
Jeff, if you could send me a link to that, I have to read that. Or, can I just search on your name and maybe find it?
Yeah, I will find it. But the other
Fantastic.
thing is...
That's good. Well, it seems like, I'm reading in your report here, and it mentions that it sounds like the NOAA has actually said that they're going to throw out the sea data that it's so corrupt.
And the land data. They're redoing the whole thing.
Wow. And then we're spending, billions and tens of billions of dollars fighting something in which the data that supposedly supports it is so corrupt they're going to have to redo it. Did they actually?
Well, not only that, the reason why they did it is they wanted to have it out just before the big Paris climate conference, where all the world leaders went to say that we're not going to pollute anymore. So we got to screw up our industry.
Right.
That's why.
Yeah, this thing was all rushed. And in fact, where should people go to read this particular article?
It's actually on the. Since I posted it, I believe yesterday, it's on the cover page. So if you go to lidblog.com, you will see it right there.
Excellent. Now, who said, one of the things in this is that I see it said that that the data used was unreliable, used unreliable methods that overstated the speed of warming. Is that NOAA that actually said that?
That's the guy who used to work for the NOAA and retired. The whistleblower.
And that's this Dr. Bates.
Dr. Bates, right.
Yeah, he sounds like a very brave guy.
He doesn't have a motel.
This is just, like you said.
And if you go on, and here's another, basic science. I mean, let me tell you something. I took college geology and college bio, and that's as far as I went, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But I do know that for something to be scientifically valid, the experiment has to be able to be reproduced. Am I correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, they somehow lost all the data that the computer generated, so they can't even reproduce the findings.
It is a religious cult, and going back that it used to be. It wasn't a full-blown religious cult, but it was misinformation. So when I went through geology school, they were pushing the opposite.
Right.
And
when I took college geology, they said we were about to go into an ice age.
Absolutely. And Time Magazine, Newsweek had articles saying this is the next ice age, and they said it was due to carbon pollution. And so there's this one guy from NASA, and who's Al Gore's number one guy from NASA that he's used through the years?
Yes, with an H, Hansen.
Close. That's not quite it, but we're talking about the same Hansen. Hansen was the guy's name, right?
Yeah, and he got caught fudging data a couple of times also.
Oh, yeah. And in 1971, on the front page of the Washington Post, he wrote an article with another guy. He says, my computer models show without a doubt that we have to immediately shut down carbon pollution because if we don't, it'll be too late. In 2 to 3 years, we're going to go into an ice age due to carbon pollution. Ice age.
Well, there are a lot of scientists now saying that we are going to go into a mini ice age, not because of CO2, but because of, as I mentioned before, the sunspot activity. Because we're going into an extremely low period of sunspot activity.
Yeah,
okay,
that's right.
So, if you bought all those snorkels because Al Gore said you're going to be underwater, forget it. It's a Jewish mother sweater alert. Okay, it's going to get cold.
Mm-hmm.
This is what bothers me more than anything because, like I said, I happen to be a very observant person, and to me, the only thing that is solid science or is solid that I don't have to question is the Torah for me. Okay, but everything else made by man, you got to ask questions about. And if anybody tells you stop thinking because it's all settled, it's baloney.
The history of science is that almost all science is thrown out through the years. And I was involved with one of them. Is the shift to the shift to continental drift. And I truly believe that's true. The evidence is wonderful. But for centuries before that occurred, they were teaching silly things about how, trying to explain away why, fossils were the way they were in different continents and all those types of things. And, so I saw that happen. And the last holdouts on that were people like the chairman of the geology department at Harvard were the last holdouts onto the old discredited theories, which are now, totally thrown away. We have the master here is Rick Schrader, and I've been resting his voice a little bit, but I'd like to bring Rick back in and let him wrap the show up.
Hey, Jeff, great to have you with us. Jeff, please remind our listeners once again where they can read your stuff and how they can hear your radio show.
lidblog.com, lidblog.com, and my radio show is every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Actually, I just got off, 2 to 3 p.m. On the SHR Media Network, or you can go to my site and listen to it.
By the way, I get your stuff every day. I enjoy it. It's great to have you on again, Jeff. We need to make it more often.
And I'm assuming I will see you in 2 weeks at CPAC.
Yeah, we will be there. You will be there too, right?
I wouldn't miss it for the world.
That'd be great. Cool. Jeff, thank you so much for joining us on the Conservative Commandos radio show. Take care. God bless.
You too, man. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Dana, I want to thank you for sitting in today as my co-host, and thank you for carrying the yeoman share of the show today. It's definitely helping me and my voice, and hopefully by Monday I'll be back in shape. But again, I want to thank you. And by the way, I want to remind our audience once again, if you'd like to report illegal aliens, please call Immigration and Customs Enforcement at 1-866-347-2423. You'll need to know names, locations, either work or place of business or at their residence, and any other specific information you could provide. Again, the number is 1-866-347-2423, or visit ICE's website. It's www.ice.gov. And Dana, this is a way for we the people to bypass these radical liberal judges who want to, instead of following our Constitution, they want to make their own laws up to support and protect their political left.
Yep, that's right. Our judicial system has been very corrupted on the very topic you're talking about.
All right. And I want to thank Dana. I want to thank you for sitting in today as my co-host. I want to thank Mr. John Forsyth, Jr. for working the boards. But for right now, we got to run. We got to go. Take care. God bless. And we'll see you tomorrow on the radio.
1360 AM. WNJC. Washington Township, Philadelphia.
Hi, I'm Kevin Wade. Conservative Commandos is happy to welcome Liberty HealthShare as a sponsor. Liberty HealthShare is a community of health-conscious Americans who practice long-standing Christian principles in sharing health care costs. Liberty HealthShare exists for everyone who purchases health care for themselves or their family, or who wants to control their own health care. I run a small business, and we were caught in the confusion of Washington's ever-changing health insurance requirements. We found a common-sense solution in Liberty HealthShare. Liberty HealthShare is not insurance. It simply unites like-minded Americans to share medical costs together. Join a community of health-conscious Americans who practice long-standing Christian principles in sharing health care costs. That's Liberty HealthShare. To find out how you can easily make the change, call Liberty HealthShare today at 855-585-4237. That's 855-585-4237, or visit their website at libertyhealthshare.org.